Hi Teaquilters, today is October 2nd, 2021, and I'm here to do very quick briefing of things that I've done in September. I am not going to actually show you everything that I've done in September because it's about to rain out here, so I will just save those. They're not completely done anyway, so I will just save those. But I did want to share with you my customer quilts that I quilted for the month. I actually finished the last one yesterday, but I'm going to go ahead and include it in this video anyway. So this first quilt here is a star quilt, and it also has dragonflies in it. And so I actually used the panto for quilting on this that includes dragonflies. I just thought that it was enhance what was going on, since it had the big open space here, that the dragonflies would show up. On the back of this quilt top, the maker chose this leaf print. Very pretty. You can't hardly see the quilting. I just used more of a neutral thread on this project. So let's go on to her quilt number 2. So here is quilt number 2. It has cardinal birds on birch trees. Very simplistic design, just more of a rail fence with a spacer. I do like her use of this birch tree print. Very creative. And then I used Trillium leaf for the quilting on this. That's my go-to for leafy prints. I really like it. And they have an edge to edge as well as a border to border. And then this is how it looks on the back. Her bird print was also gorgeous, and it's a directional print, so I had to make sure that I had the front of the quilt matching with the back of the quilt. Final quilt here is a rail fence quilt, and I like how she did a variation of light to dark, so her rails look like they're double stepping in the light areas as well as in the dark areas. So very nice use of scraps here. On this one, I forgot the name of this design. I'll have to put it on the screen for you guys. I had just put it on my quilt that I quilted that I'm not going to actually show you in this video, but it's just one of those. I wanted to do something. I originally wanted to do something a little fancier with pansies, but the pansies just overtook the busy border print, and so I just decided to go ahead and just do a very loopy print just to give it some movement. So this is the quilting here, and this is it's called Chantilly lace. That's what it's called. Sorry about that. And the back side of her quilt top, she used this border here. I used the light blue for quilting, so it sort of kind of blends in unless I'm very close. So that's what it looks like up close. The same or similar blue thread, similar light blue. Consuelo and Dee Dee pieced this quilt top. So Dee Dee is teaching this 9-year-old how to quilt, and this is her first quilt, and Dee Dee sent it to me to quilt for her. And I just love what they have done together, and love the whole concept of each one teach one. So I was very honored to quilt her quilt, and I hope that she is enjoying it. And panto that we use for this is called Curls. And just a quick wrap up here, because I'm running out of battery, is that I do enjoy this and hope that the maker enjoys it as well. Talk to you all later. Okay guys, I'm back and I'm just showing you a couple of quilt tops that I've worked on during the month of September. Again, I have 2 other quilts that I did quilt, but I didn't get the bindings on those, so I am just going to wait because again, we're about to have rain here and I'm running out of minutes. So I just wanted to come and show you that I did get the top piece from GE Designs. This was my Saturday Sewing Chat project during the month of September. It's called Hey June, and it is YouTube videos up on GE Designs YouTube page, so you can go check it out over there if you're interested in this. I just decided to make only 16 blocks, so it's a little bit small. I'm going to see if in the remaining layer cake pack, if I've got other prints that will work, and maybe I can do some kind of piano key border here to make this a little bit bigger. So this will be a continuation of this project. And let's see. So one of the projects that I have quilted that you have not seen is I worked on the 2021 Teaquilts Ablum block swap with the Evening Star block. I do have that one quilted, but the binding isn't on it yet, so I'm not showing it. But I did work on piecing the 2020 blocks that we swapped. This was the first ever Teaquilts swap with my YouTube channel. I have 42 blocks in here. I did have to use one of my blocks. I think I had to use 3 of my blocks to make this work in this setting. So it's 42 blocks here. And I have about 7 more blocks that I'm going to put on the back. I'm going to probably steal Shaquita's thing where she made a T with her extra blocks on the back. I think that'll be really cool. I do also want to add a border on here just to make it so that it gets up to 96 inches square, which is what I like for my bed quilt. So I will be adding a border, but I thought I would come on and just let you all know what I did. I'm calling it Tipsy Turvy Crumb. No, I'm calling it I'm actually going to call this quilt Tipsy Turvy Crumbles, since they are crumb blocks, and I have it in a tilted fashion where I just took half the blocks and tilted them one way, tilted the other blocks the other way. So made a really cute design. It was a design challenge with this, but I'll talk about it more when I get into the finishing of this, because you'll see it again. Hopefully by the end of the year I'll have this one completed, if nothing untoward happens in my life. I will end this video here, guys. Thank you all so much, and I'll see you next time. So hi guys, it's T with Teaquilts, and today is Sunday, October 24th, 2021, and I'm here to show you 3 quilts that I've just quilted for one customer. And this first one is a rail fence that's set different with sashing and cornerstones. So I thought that was pretty unique in itself. I love her green colors, and because she used green, I decided to use the Trillium Leaf edge to edge panto on this particular quilt. So very lovely quilt. She also wanted me to add backing fabrics for her quilts. So this one here is a Marshall's Dry Goods print, and nothing fancy about it, but I will show you the quilting up front. You can see the Trillium Leaf here. And I will also flip this up and show you the back. I used a sage green thread for this particular quilt top, and you can see the Marshall Dry Goods print here. If I think of the name of it, I'll put it here, but I sell just some of the basic backings for people that don't like the more costly alternative. So that's what that one is. We'll move on to quilt number 2. Quilt number 2 is this 9-patch that's offset with a spacer square. And notice that on my quilts today, I have them going lengthwise across my deck instead of the other way, because I did not want them to get wet. It actually rained overnight, so I don't want the quilts to get damaged. But this one's really cute too. The name of the panto I used on this I'm blocking, but hopefully I'll remember to put it on the screen for you guys. I can go back into my I can go back and look it up for you. But beautiful work here. Again, I used that same backing fabric from Marshall Dry Goods in purple this time. And let me get you a closer shot of the actual quilting. And we will also look at the backing on this one as well. So same fabric, and you can barely see any of the stitching because I use matching thread. I tend to use whatever color my backing is, I tend to use that as my thread color. And I thought, since this quilt was so large with the spacer squares, that the color thread would also enhance or pop the white fabric as well instead of blending in. So that was kind of my choice. She leaves it up to me. So take you to the third and final quilt in this segment. This quilt I hung actually too high and I thought my backing fabric was further down than it was, but I definitely didn't want to get it wet. So we've got quite a few rows, maybe 4 rows that are over the banister here. But this is a quilt that my customer had actually completed, but she used ties, and once she had it done, I think she's used it for a little bit, and then she decided she wanted to go ahead and get it quilted. But she was nervous about the quilting because she didn't want to quilt through the painted birds, and I'll give you an up close shot. So what I did was I just did a basic meandering, because this is also a beginner customer and she really didn't want to spend too much on custom quilting. So this was the way she could get kind of away without having to pay for custom quilting, you know, full custom quilting. So what I did was I just did meandering, and then where her birds were, you can kind of see here where I outlined around the bird. And then that way she had some stitching down and she didn't have to pay for the extreme custom quilting. And she's also had some damage in the quilt, so I didn't want to invest a $500 quilting job if she didn't, you know, when the quilt may not last. And I did have to do some scrub printing quilting where you also have holes, and I had to like stitch back and forth over the holes, so the meandering also allowed me to do that. So that's what's going on with that quilt. And then just for the cut of this video, I am going to go back and talk about the purple quilt, add that information in, and also included in the end of this video will be the show and tell from the 4-Star Generals from the 4-Star Generals Facebook group. So I just wanted to include everybody in that. We also will be having a drawing winner as well, and I will add that information on the screen as well, because this video will have already been recorded. So thank you all so much. Also, it's a teachable moment. This quilt here had a whole lot of fullness, and so I'm going to just give my customers some instructions. But I made 3 rows on this quilt top, and then as I continue to roll the quilt, I had like a 1/2 inch to maybe 1.5 inches of fullness in each row all the way to the bottom. And I'm not even sure which way is the bottom, but sometimes I was able to ease in that fullness, and sometimes I had to actually take a tuck. So it's got a little bit of fullness in places, and of course I'm probably not going to be able to find them right now because they will be on the bottom down here of the quilt or on the other end of the quilt, just looking at how my rows start, because I've got the quilt going a different way today. And of course, when you're looking for something, it's very difficult to find. So if I find anything, I'll try to find it in the house, and then I'll just add a photo for you guys. How about that? Okay, so I decided to go ahead and cut the camera so that I could show you where I have long pleats in this material. You can see where my finger goes in here all the way down to here. This pleat is all the way down to there. So this is very dangerous quilting because I didn't want to use purple thread to stitch this down like I normally would. And so I had to sit with my machine as it was quilting this section to make sure that this did not get caught in my hopper foot. So I had to do a lot of that kind of stuff. So I just know that her quilt has constantly kept growing every time she adds borders, and so I think she just needs to measure her borders. So I'm gonna just include in her return information, just something on the internet, because I don't have time right now to make it myself, but how to add borders to quilts. So I'll see you at the next quilt. Hi guys, it's T with Teaquilts, and today is Thursday, October 28th, and I just finished a customer's quilt. I actually showed it yesterday while I was sewing the binding on, so you saw little pieces of it, but I'm going to show you the entire quilt before I give it back to my customer. So as I said, this is a customer's quilt, and what she did was she pieced the quilt top, and I think she was a sewer, not necessarily a quilter. And so she did not want to finish this off, so she asked me would I quilt it, and then asked me would I also complete the binding. So I sent her a few quilting designs that I like to use on t-shirt quilts, and she picked the herringbone design. I love her shirts. A good mix of things. I've never seen this Mizzou shirt here before. Very nice. And this is the fabric that we also used on the back, this Paul's print with hearts. And I actually cut this off of my long arm and then attached the binding to the back of the quilt. And you can see this second stitching line here. That is where I stitch on top of the edge of the binding on the front, from the front. So that is it for this quilt top. I really like it. It's about 64.5 inches finished. Today is October 31st, 2021, and I'm here to do wrap up for the month of October for completed projects. I just wanted to come on and show you that I had made some slouch bags for use on a jerry chair. So this pattern is a little bit different than the regular slouch bags because they're a little bit smaller, or some could be a lot smaller than those patterns. And I did a video on October 30th, 2021 on my Teaquilts live where I showed you how I made these bags, and I show you the difference in the pattern that I have used, that I made from the bag, and then also the patterns that I saw over the internet that were different than the one that I needed. So anyway, I'm just going to show you the results here. I'm hoping to have a link up at the eye above so you can go watch the video. Here is the bag that I received that I made the pattern for. Very well loved bag. It was coming apart here, so I just kind of restitched that. Restitch this handle down. So I made a pattern, and then I didn't realize that my pattern was different until I started sewing. So this is the first bag here that I sewed, and when I got through, instead of having one handle, I ended up having two handles. So what I did was I just zigzag stitch that handle down, and also when I did that, it also made the handle much thicker here, so I had to do some adjustments to the pattern. So this is the actual pattern here that I came up with, where the handle is back small again. And then I showed this, I'm actually making this for a lady that uses a jerry chair. So then when I showed her the photo of my prototype and the actual pattern bag, do you know she liked the thicker handle better. So I went back to my original pattern and made her another bag. She wanted 3 bags. So I made her this bag. And so I decided to recycle some denim here. I have a pocket here that she can put like her cell phone in, but then I also just tacked the top of the pocket here so that she could slide some things in here like a pen or a pencil. And if she wants, she can take these stitches out as well and make this a full double pocket. But I went back to the thick handle here. So those are her 3, but I decided Christmas is coming up. It'd be great for her to have a little Christmas bag that she can take around and use. So that's what this one is, and I just wanted to make sure that the snowflakes fall from heaven was included on both sides when I cut it out. And you do have to pay attention to directional print. Just make sure that that this is upright, so your handle is going up on your patterns. Decided to see if this would also work on my mom's scooter chair. And then if it does not work, then I will just give this to the lady as well. So she'll end up with more if this doesn't work for my mom. And if it does work for my mom, then I'll make my mom some additional bags. But that's it for the bags. I also have some pictures I want to show you from the Teaquilts 4-Star General Sew Along group. So they're going to follow now. So I'm working on this sew along in 2 sizes. The Batiks is the regular size blocks. And then I also have increased the blocks 1.5%, 150%, and doing them in the red, black, and gray, and white. Kevin the Quilter, Tom, Dee Dee, also Dee Dee's, Lizette, Karen, Scotty, Janet Mack, Christine, Suzanne, and Suzanne Star Blocks. And this is Deborah H. This is Emily, Carissa, Cheryl K, Gwen C, Lisa R, Janet M, also Janet M Star Blocks, Betsy, Jennifer M, that's Claudette and Claudette's, sorry, Darlene and Darlene's Star Block, 2 for Patricia, Teresa L, Vivian, 2 for Linda, Maddie's Block, Carla, Dolores, Vanessa, Jackie, Stephanie, Claudia, Teresa B, Joyce, Diane, Deborah, Judy B, Ellen Mack, Mondley, Deborah SB, Lila, Shaquita, Peggy, and then Peggy again, French Seams, Rosalind, Bonita, and then also Bonita's changing up her border blocks for this block here, Brenda, Earlene, Chanel JS, Marty, and last but not least is Phyllis. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Share my channel with your other quilting friends, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye, Teaquilters. Stay blessed.